Hello there, this is Patricia from Pinky's World. Today I am making a shadow box Christmas card, and for this card I have used a couple of stamp sets. The Coming Home, which is full of all these wee houses which are great to colour in, very easy to cut out. I think it does come with some kind of a die set, but I didn't bother with a die set. I just wanted the actual wee houses and the trees, and they're so easy to cut out you don't really need it. Maybe the more intricate stuff you might be glad of a die, but didn't bother me. So I've used that. For the sentiment I have used Itty Bitty Christmas, and I was going to use this for the back. Oh, I did use it. Head like a sieve. This is the square that was cut out from the front of the card, and I just flipped it over and used it as my piece at the back so you can actually sign it. Should have stamped that up a wee bit higher if you want to sign it. Entirely up to you, depends on who you're giving it to. But the next one I'm going to do, this one's 2 inches wide. I'm actually going to go 1.5 inches because I give one of them an inch space between, and I think 1/2 inch is more than enough. It does look nice with a 1/2 inch and sweep it too far back. Might actually squeeze another layer in there just because I've done that. But this is the one we're going to use this time. This was Plaid Tidings papers, which will be on sale, 15% off, I think, on the 1st of October. So if you fancy getting that pack is actually beautiful. I have used so much of it. I'm nearly tempted to get another packet. So check out, there's loads of other DSP if you have anything on your wish list that you're after. You may as well get it once it's a bit cheaper. So we're going to start with this, and you're going to need a few bits and pieces, not a lot. You need 2 pieces of Whisper White, and they need to measure 4¼ inches by 6.5. And you need 2 bits to make your wee hills inside. Just 2 bits of ripped paper or card. I'm actually using the same Whisper White card, so it's good and firm. One needs to be, where is my measurements? 1.5 inches by 5.5, and this one is 2.5 by 5.5, so pretty easy. I have went ahead and started. I've cut my DSP, which you need 2 pieces for the square, measuring 4¼ by 6, no, sorry, 4 3/8 by 4. And this is too far away from I can hardly read my measurements. 4 3/8 by 4 1/8, and that'll fit into your square perfectly. But my advice to you is, when you're doing it, don't be a gap like me and cut the white out and then decide to add DSP, because it is so hard to get it cut the same position again, no matter how much you try. And I didn't decide to add the DSP until after I had everything assembled, so I was completely foobarred. So this time I have went ahead, cut my DSP, stuck it onto the side of the card that's going to be the front, and then run it through the cut machine with your square die. Get that off while ribbing it. Just use, I'd advise you to use a bit of washi tape or something to hold it in place so that it doesn't move and you get a nice straight cut. And then it leaves you that you can use the wee leftover piece, either flip it over and stamp your sentiment or use it for something else entirely. That's up to you if you don't want to waste it. So that was the square dies that cut this out for me. So to do this, we'll start off doing our scoring. I'm making this sound very complicated, but it's actually not. So get your piece of your Whisper White scored at 1/2 inch and then scored at 2 inches. And that's all the scoring you need for both pieces. So do that first. Then go ahead, add 1 piece of DSP to this, run it through your machine, and that's all the cutting done, and then you can go ahead. Depending on what glue you're using, just be careful, give it time to dry, because if you put it through when it's still wet, the glue is going to get squeezed right out there and it's going to be all over the place. So do that before you're ready to get on with your card. And then score your lines that you've just scored, just to form your box. Flip me pink. Okay, I would need drugs this morning, never mind not being on them. So this is all going to come together like so, and that'll give you that nice wee front shadow box. So before we go any further, we're going to decorate our insides. So on the inside, we can add this one to here, and then that'll start the ball rolling, because on this one I only did the decoration on the flat back. I didn't bring it around the sides, and I regret it. I think it would look nice, the clouds even carried round, and that top mountain piece carried round, just to finish the whole thing off. So that's what we're going to do this time. So we'll add a bit of glue and stick these together, just to form one nice long piece. And I know you can see the rip bits inside, and you can see this wee join, but really, like, your eye is not going to catch it when you've done all your decorating. So just line that up so that it's nice and straight. More importantly, make sure that the top is flat. You learn all these wee tips as you make the mistakes. As you can see, I have a wee slight overkill there. I don't know if you can see it there or not. Just a fraction sitting up, and it was enough to annoy me. Now maybe it wouldn't annoy you. I'm a bit of a freak like that. I like it to be straight, especially at the top. So I think that's fine. It's looking fine for me. So that's the front. This is going to be your back piece here, and your decoration will go along here. So we're going to do that now. I have decided on Coastal Cabana because of the colours that I'm using, and I'm using a wee bit of Bermuda Bay as well for the clouds, just to tie in the colours. On the other one I've used Seaside Spray for the snowy bits, and God, I can't even remember what the colour was. Can't remember. I think it might have been this one. Yeah, it was this one. So you can see it's easy enough to tie in your colours. If you haven't got Stampin' Up stuff and you're looking to make it, just use whatever plain blues you have that'll match your paper, or go with a pale grey for your snowy bits if you want. So we're going to start off, and we're going to do the back mountains, and I'm running this right across this time so that it's going to cover the wee house, or behind the wee house I should say. So I think I'll go like so, and we're going to do the snowy bits in Coastal Cabana. So I'm using my usual wee brush, and I'll just dab it off and go on the paper itself and then up over it. I'm just bringing it right across the seams. And I don't mind if it's extra thick looking or whatever. I just want it carried on out there rather than leaving it bare. So that gives you that nice bluey background, which we're going to add our clouds to it now. And I am changing direction, and I'm going to do it this way. So I want the snow going slightly on down, and a few white bits in between. Now, you'll be able to see that through there. And our houses will sit, and it'll look like a whiter, snowier area, even though I'm not putting snow on it. And I'm going to bring this on down. I might flip it over this time, just for a wee bit of difference. I don't think we're going to see as much on down as I'm adding extra paper. But you can see how quickly the deeper colours go on. You don't need to keep adding layers to it. So I'm happy enough with that. I'm going to leave it, and on the bottom we're just going to run the colour just across. Just don't get your whisper white into it. Just to finish the bottom off, rather than leaving it white. So you need to do your other wee bits and pieces in here. So we've got the 2.5 inch piece by 5 and 5.5, wasn't it? Yeah, so just we're going to rip it to give you a few mountains and peaks and whatever. It doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to be exact, you know, but we'll want to add the same colour tones to this as we did the other one. So again, just use your, I've nearly pulled at the exact same, would you believe that? If you tried to do that, it would be impossible. So just add a few wee layers of your snow again onto this card. and just switch it about a bit. I'm going to bring it right down to the edge here. And then go back over this road and bring that up a bit. So that should do that alright. And again, you can swish along the bottom, give it a bit of depth, and I'm going to do the exact same at the top just to add a bit of colour to the torn edge, just for more definition. And that gives you that. I'll do the other one now before I move on. And this one again, you want to rip it. And go back in with your, go like, need to rip myself a new page, I think. I'm not really happy with this one. Again, this is only a piece of torn copy paper, which I'll use and use and use until it falls apart, and then I'll make another one. So that's not so bad. I'm going to go over the top now. And a wee bit along the bottom. Just really cleaning my brush off, to be honest with you. Now the only other thing we have to do now is our clouds on this one. So we'll just change the colour so that it's just not all the exact same tone. I'm just using this wee Bermuda Bay and my wee cloud template, which you know, I made a long time ago. You can see my actual cuts. I just happened to come across a bit of plastic and I held on to it for years and said, wonder what I'll use that for. And now I have the perfect reason. So I'm centering this here. This is a much deeper colour, so don't go mad unless you want really defined clouds. I'm not going over the edge here. I'm going to move the template over before I do the ones at the side, just so that I can join them up properly. Whoops. So we'll just scoot over here. Maybe go there. And that just brings the whole design right round the side, which I think is much nicer. So again, line it up where you're happy. Scoot it over. And that's your clouds done. So we'll get all these out of the road, and we're going to score these so they'll fit in nicely. So you need to flip them over and just score them at 1/2 inch on either side. Same with this one. Oops. And you don't need to score these so much. You just want to fold them back nicely to give them a bit of leeway in case you're going to be tight. So one's going to be like so and so. So we have one at the bottom and one further up. So we want to make sure and leave, leave room for the lower one to go in behind this one, and it'll stick at this side. You know what I mean? So maybe we should do the lower one first. I'm only sticking one side of it at the minute. If I can get my glue out. I'm going with a heavier glue than the collal just to give it a good hold. So we want this one actually not totally at the front, but a wee bit back from it. sort of less than ½ an inch. Oops. You can see there's that much of a gap. Whoops. Okay. Just line it up with the bottom. And then you know that's going to sit like so. It'll be attached to the other side, and that'll all be attached there, and that'll give you that good wee bit of room. This one is going to go a wee bit further on up. Actually, it's not. It's actually sitting down there. YouTube. So I hope I have made that. Look, I think it's okay. So again, the same side. Add your glue. And put it right down to the bottom. Lost my way there, didn't I? So this one's going to line up with the crease here. And that gives it a wee bit of a gap. Oops. Oh, come on, stick. Just make sure that it's not annoying your folder. So there we have both of them now. And we need to start arranging our wee houses. So I have all these stamped and cut and coloured, using the one big house at the very back. That'll be here. There'll be a tree at either side, which I've coloured and cut out, and they'll go there. But when you're putting your house in, you can see in this one I have added like a wee pathway. Do you see it down there? That wee pathway in there. And it just sort of gives it a wee bit of direction. And I did the same for each of the houses, just so it looks like they're going somewhere and you can actually get to them without trudging through the snow. So we'll decide this one in the center. Just want to make sure it's not too far down. You just use these as a gauge. You could go ahead and stick them in, but I think it helps to know what way it's going to look before you stick it down. So I have dimensions on the back of these to give it a wee bit of a raise. And again, I'm going to hold it to see where I'm happy. Doesn't have to be in the middle. Just depends on where you want it. I'm putting a bit of glue on these just to hold them in place. And they're going to be stuck flat. At this stage you can have a play, decide yourself. If you have stamps with a wee sleigh or a Santa or something, go ahead, stick them all in. Just make your own wee design. And then get your grey marker and just do like a wee pathway. My grey is nearly done. So I'm just doing a rough pathway down. You're not even going to see that unless you're looking directly into it, but to me it matters, so I'm continuing on with it. It's just the way I am. So in front of that we're going to have another wee house, and I'm keeping the big one for there, and this wee one is going to go along here somewhere. So that seems okay. I think if I put that there, I'll be happy enough. Sticking that flat again, just half the bottom part with glue. Have a wee check before you stick it down and see if you're happy. And then I have two wee trees done, and I've left the wee white edge around these ones, just to make them sit out a wee bit more. And I'm going to have them coming slightly like they're going up that hill. I do one down there. Just be careful that they're not going to disappear behind your third wee wall, or wall of snow. So I think I'll go there. And again, if you want to grind them a wee bit, just put a wee bit of shadow nearly, that they're not floating trees. And I have another wee one. I'm just going to go a wee bit further with it. Just always remember not to put too much glue on your trays if you're, you don't want it sticking over the back and the whole lot's sticking together. And make sure they're straight. Again, I'll add a wee bit. And that's that one done. You can see the whole design is building up nicely now. And you just have your front one now. And we could actually go ahead and glue this one on before everything sticks too much, just to make sure you're happy with it. So make sure that's been folded properly. And then just fold that over. Make sure it's all taken. Fold it over both ways and you'll know if you're happy. I think it's coming on nicely. I'm pretty pleased with it. So our last wee one is going to be on top of this, and it's going to be the larger house over here, which is probably going to block all my trees. It is very hard to get this going, isn't it? So forgot about my wee pad, which I'm going to do now. I'll bring that one over to the side. And then our next one is going to sit, was going to sit here, so there's going to be trees behind it. That's okay, I'm happy enough with that. So again, I've one sticky thing at the bottom. I hope I'm not going out of shot for you. And again, before you stick anything down, make sure that's going straight for you. Oops. Oh, sticking to me. And just put it offset it a wee bit, but not right over to your edge. And do your wee path. Oh, let's see, I'm going to check it first just to make sure I'm happy with it. So it's sort of over to the side, which is nice enough. I'm happy enough with that. So add your wee bit of pathway. And then we're going to stick a wee tree to the side of it. Now, where would you like to be? I think there. Just about there. Now you can go back in at any stage you want and add loads more trees, whatever else you have. You can just stick them in, have fun with it. It's one of those cards you get carried away with, and especially at Christmas time. So just make sure it's all lined up nicely and press that down. So that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. I think it needs more stuff here, which I may go back in at some stage and do. But we can now add our wee bits of sides. When the card's still flat, it's easier to do. I'm just using Collage glue to allow me to slip about there. And just center that. And with the other one for here. Just line it up with that other edge. And then one for the back. Lovely and vibrant, this paper, isn't it? This is the Brights DSP in the Bermuda Bay. So you will add your sentiment then to the back of that whenever you're ready. And we just have to add our card together with this, and I'm going to use the tomboy. And again, just make sure that everything is lining up nicely, straight top and bottom. Double check it by flipping your fold. And yeah, I'm happy enough with that. So that's more or less the basis of your whole card, which I think is just beautiful. Really think it's lovely. It's a lovely set. This is going to sit up here at the top. That's the one I stamped out of Itty Bitty Birthdays. Added a bit of red to the back, just to tie with the red of the houses rather than going to the same blue again. So I'm just putting a wee line of glue across the centre there, because it's only sticking to the very centre. And just make sure that you've left enough room for it all to slip into your envelope, so that you don't have to make a bigger envelope. Just flatten that down and see where that brings us on the envelope. Whoops, nice glue on my trousers. So if that goes into that envelope like so, come on. I don't want my sentiment sitting too far over, and preferably the right way around. So I'll just bring it down slightly so that it will fit in there for me. Give me a wee line there roughly. So you can still afford to go up over the edge a wee tiny bit. And if you're really fussy, cut that down much smaller. I just wanted to make a bit of a statement with that one. So that really ties it in. And our last wee bit is this lovely wee car, which is driving home with the Christmas tree. So we can pop him there. He's just coloured in the cherry cobblers, and again with a wee white edge to add a bit of detail. Just make sure my glue is going to be on the back. I think it's sticking up a wee bit, so I'm going to shove it down. I don't want any glue sticking in the back of my card and the flipping thing all sticks together. Not much fun. Yeah, that seems to be okay. And just make sure it stands properly. And then we'll put our wee tree on top, because he's been shopping for his trees. Now just check how much it's on the lower part of the tree that you want your glue. And then just position it so it looks like it really is sitting on top of that car. Watch it doesn't swish about. And that's it finished. Both fit into the right size, and you can see the difference in the thickness. And if you use a thick wisp of white, it'll give you a good sturdy base, and you can add lots of Wink of Stella, glitter, gems, whatever you fancy. You can really go to town on this, you know, and have absolute fun. A great way to spend a wet afternoon, where today we have a freezing cold day. Beautiful sunshine, but it is icy out there, and it's not even October yet. So I don't know what's going on with our weather at all. So that's me finished. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you give it a wee go. And as usual, all the measurements will be coming on the blog. And if anybody wants them on the VIP group, just ask me and I'll post them there too. So catch us all later. Thanks for watching. Bye.